Hey, this is Russ. Time to learn about another knee patient. Yeah, we're not talking about my knee today. Today, we are talking about your knees. Okay, now I asked you guys to send me information about your knee journey. And so today, we are going to be talking about patient number 4M from, I believe, possibly Canada. Maybe somewhere else, I'm not sure. And the reason I think he's not in the United States is because he doesn't call it physical therapy, he calls it physio. And I think they call it physio up in Canada, but they could call it that in other places too. I think they call it that in the UK as well. But I have had viewers from all over the world, so he could be from anywhere. All right, so he's patient number 4M, okay? And he doesn't tell me too much about himself other than the fact that he had bad arthritis in both knees, okay? And I'm looking off screen, as you notice, because I have a computer monitor behind the camera, which will tell me what to talk about. All right. So he had his knee replaced on February 14th of 2020. So he's had it. I think he's had it for a little bit of time. He said the surgery went well, and he was awake for 90% of his surgery. Now that is amazing. Okay. Now you know that I'm not really that squeamish, but I think I'd be squeamish on my own knee. Yeah, I don't think I want to be able to see that. I don't know if he was able to see it. He doesn't say, but he said he was awake. He had spinal antiseptic. All right, so they gave him some type of spinal. I don't know. Is that like an epidural? Maybe that's an epidural. And the only reason I know that word is because when my daughter was born, they told us about epidurals for birthing, right? So I think that's maybe what he had. Anyways, he said he was in the hospital for 2 nights, all right? He says the pain wasn't too bad while he's in the hospital. And he got released and he got his meds and then he had physio. Okay, see, there's a hint. It was set up for the following day after he got released, okay? So he didn't have his therapy immediately. I mean, I know for me, after I woke up, a couple hours later, they were saying, "Get up, we're walking." So we're walking the same day. Okay, so it sounds like he may have gone through a couple days before he even had that type of work. And he says that he left the hospital and he had a range of about 80 degrees, okay, for his flexion. The first 4 days he was at home, his wife was there to help him, and he says, "Thank God for that." I would agree with that. All right, if I didn't have my wife at home helping me, I don't know what I would have done, okay? But eventually she did go back to work, so I had to deal with it on my own, and that was a little scary. Anyways, says that his pain level was tolerable, but he had very little pain, so he wasn't doing too bad in that sense. He went to physio 2 times a week for the next 3 weeks, and then he did all the rest of the exercises at home because of the pandemic. Okay, so that shut him down. Shut me down too. Once that happened, I stopped my 80 physical therapy sessions. Yeah, I had plenty. I had enough. I think I was at the point of had the pandemic not hit, I think I was at the point of thinking a little bit more than I'm going to stop. I hit 130 degrees, under pain. So I knew I was getting there. I think I was like 117 unassisted. So I was thinking, yeah, a little bit more, and then I think I might be done. So anyways, he said he had a lot of scar tissues forming just above his knee, which is what restricted his flexion. And that's very typical. That's really what happened with me too, and that's why I had the MUAs done. The scar tissues formed, and I just couldn't bend anymore. I think it sounds like the same thing for him. So he says 2.5 months later, he finally went back to PT, okay, physio in his wording, and his flexion had gotten worse. He was only getting about 70 degrees at that point. He couldn't get in to see the doctor either. Man, this is terrible. As I'm reading this, I'm going, wow, you need the help and you can't even get in because of this pandemic thing. 2.5 months later, he finally got back to physio, and his flexion got to only 70 degrees. He couldn't see a doctor, and he was back at work 3.5 months after his surgery. He works in a factory, and he's on his feet 8 hours a day. So, yeah, that's difficult. I don't think I could have done that. I don't know how he was able to do it. He says, good thing he had a graduated schedule though, so that helped him. At least he didn't have to, go back to his full regular working immediately. So he's gradually coming back to work that way. So he finally got to see the doctor after about 7 months after the replacement. 7 months, and he still had no X-rays or anything else like that. All right. He said that his knee is currently doing fine, no pain, and it's just the issue of deflection. Now, he did say that after reading stories on Facebook with various groups that he's with, that he's just a slow healer, and he's just happy that he has no pain, but his restricted deflection is something that's of concern, of course. But he says he's used to it because he's had it for years, and the main thing is that as long as he doesn't have pain, he's fine with it. Okay, he's starting to the process to have his left knee done, and can't wait to get rid of the pain in that knee. Right, and he finally mentions that he is golfing more this summer, more than he's ever been in his life. But it doesn't mean that he's getting better at golfing, just that he's enjoying it more. Right. So here's the thing. I just wonder if he had a chance to go in for more therapy, or maybe had an MUA, would he have gotten better than his 70 degrees? Because 70 degrees is quite restricted. I've had people ask me before, is it okay if I'm stopped at about 90 degrees? But quite frankly, you can't even get out of a chair at 90 degrees. You really need your leg underneath you in order to even stand up out of a chair. I mean, you can push off of a chair. If you had like armrests, you can push off of an armrest and get up, right? But that's not the same thing as just like saying, I'm standing up without any help. Okay, and if you want to do that, you're going to need more than 90 degrees. So it's always been my feeling that if you don't have at least I'm going to say at least 100 degrees, okay, you got to keep working at it. Now, he sounds like he was working at stuff, but his scar tissues are already formed. So what does that tell me? That tells me that without being at physical therapy, or without having that MUA or some type of help to scale back some of that scar tissue issues, it stopped him. Okay. Now he's okay with it, he says, because he's been like that for, I guess it sounds like, for a while. He's just happy the pain is gone. That we can think that the pain is gone, but I would have loved it if he had more than 70, right? So anyways, I'm sure he's watching too. So I'm not sure what can be done at this point. Your surgery is February 14th. It's quite a while, so I don't know. I think the only thing they really can do, and that, don't quote me for this again, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist. I always say that as my disclaimer. But I think the only thing they really could do if you wanted more is they'd have to open up that incision again, and then they'd have to cut the scar tissue. This is why I keep telling people, who contact me, when they ask me about MUAs and the like, because they know that I've gone through 2 of them. That's not typical either. Most people only do 1. I did 2. Whether I thought that that's necessary for them to do. And you'll always hear me say, yeah, do the MUA. And the reason is because that gives you a chance to go further. If you don't do the MUA and you wait, then the only option would be to cut you open again. Yeah, then they have to cut the scar tissue. That's my belief. I'm not positive that's the only way, but from what I've been told, that sounds like that might be the only way once you go past a certain point. Now, I do know too that some have said that 12 weeks is the max limit for getting an MUA, since your surgery. But I know Tony has said that you can go beyond that. Okay, so it's not a hard, fast rule that 12 weeks is the maximum. Okay, but I think in general, if they had to give it a time limit, and they have to give you some guidelines, some rough guideline, they're usually saying up to 12 weeks. So if you're ever thinking about things like MUAs, you want to get that in around that time or earlier. Okay, not to say you can't do it later, but why push your luck? Anyways, that is patient 4M. So if you would like to participate in these things, make sure you send me information, okay? and then I will relay it to the others. Now, there's updates to be had, and I should have had that ready before this particular video, but I forgot to read it. So I will give the next update. I will give more updates from others who have given me more info from that point. Okay. Anyways, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. We're very close now. I think we're close to about 60 or 61 people away from hitting the 1,000 mark for my YouTube channel. So if you want to help me out and you've been watching my videos but haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Okay. Doesn't do anything to you or anything like that, but it does help me. Okay, so I know a number of you guys might be watching all the time but never hit that subscribe button. Just click the button. If you click the button, it's going to push us over that 1,000. All right. Anyways, that's enough of a shameless plug for myself. I will talk to you guys next time.